Hello young guys, good evening. You are welcome in the SOCT Zoology classes. On the last time we were talking about basics of biochemistry. Today we will start the biomolecules. What are the biologically important molecules in living system? Normally we describe only about carbohydrate, fat and protein in the biomolecules. But the first chapter of biochemistry by Leininger describes the importance of water. Water, which makes 70% of the living system. And of the Earth's surface, 75% part of the Earth's surface is covered by water. We have 106 elements and thousands of compounds, of which one compound is hydrogen monoxide or water. Is it not surprising that why this much importance was given by nature to this water molecule? Yes, water has some very interesting properties. Water is a miraculous molecule which makes it most suitable for living system. Water, hydrogen monoxide, the H2O, which is made up of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. The oxygen atom have 2 electrons in the innermost orbit, then 8 electrons and 6 electrons in the outermost orbit. Hydrogen has only single electron in its orbit. So both hydrogen atoms make a covalent bond. This hydrogen atom shares with 1 electron of the oxygen atom, and this electron of hydrogen atom is also shared by oxygen atom. Similarly, this hydrogen atom also shares 1 electron of the oxygen atom. So the duplex of hydrogen is also maintained. The octet of oxygen atom is also maintained. Water is the only molecule which exists in all the three physical states in the nature: as a solid, ice; as a liquid, water; and as a gas, the water vapor. And the first and foremost important thing about water is that in all other substances of nature, a solid state is always heavier than the liquid state, and the solid state sinks in the liquid state. But here what happens? The maximum density of water is 1 at 4 degrees centigrade, and the density of ice is 0.92. So what happens? Ice always floats on the water surface. And for all aquatic organisms, in the polar region what happens? Atmospheric temperature reaches up to -40, -70. Even then, the bottom of all lakes, ponds and water oceans is filled with water of 4 degrees centigrade, because the maximum density of water is 1 at 4 degrees centigrade. And above that we have water of 3 degrees centigrade, 2 degree, 1 degree, 0 degree, and then ice. So ice floats on the surface, but bottom water will always contain water at 4 degrees centigrade. So the aquatic animals, fishes and other animals may not die, they can survive comfortably. Even in warmer season, what happens? The upper layer of a pond or lake becomes warm. This warm water is lighter, so it floats on the surface. This layer is called epilimnion. And second thing, the lower water is colder water. This layer is called hypolimnion. In between there is a zone of transition which is called thermocline. So what happens? Even in very hot season, the bottom water is comparatively colder. When you take out water from a tube well or deep well in the summer season, it is warmer, it is colder. And in winter season also, if we take out the water from the bottom, it is comparatively warmer in nature. So this way, it makes very beneficial molecule for the living system. The second property of water is that although water is covalent, in nature the covalent solutes always dissolve in covalent solvents, electrovalent solutes always dissolve in electrovalent solvents. But in water, both covalent glucose and sucrose can also dissolve, and electrovalent NaCl can also dissolve. Water is both covalent and it is also polar compound. Why? Because due to more electronegativity of the oxygen atom, the shared pair of electron is shifted towards the oxygen atom. A partial positive charge develops on one hydrogen atom, a partial negative charge develops on the oxygen atom. That is why it ionizes into H ion and OH ion. So the second important point of water is a universal solvent. It can dissolve every type of food in it for our living system, and in the surrounding water, for all aquatic animals, the surrounding water dissolves necessary food items in it which can be utilized by the aquatic animals. The third interesting point about water molecule is that if hydrogen atom is present in between two strongly electronegative groups, it is attracted by that electronegative group. Here also what happens? There is one water molecule, there is another water molecule, third water molecule, fourth water molecule. But here the electronegativity of oxygen is much more. It attracts the electron of hydrogen towards it. It develops a partial negative charge, it develops a partial positive charge. This bonding is called hydrogen bonding, and due to this hydrogen bonding, water always behaves as a molecular aggregate. That is why all the physical constants of water are very high as compared to other oxides, SO2, NO2, and other hydrides, NH3, CH4, etc. Specific heat, latent heat, melting point, boiling point, all the physical constants of water molecule are higher as compared to other compounds of the elements of first and seventh group. So all these properties make water a beneficial molecule. Let us see about specific heat. Specific heat, the amount of energy, amount of heat which is required to raise temperature of 1 gram of a substance by 1 degree centigrade is called specific heat. For water, actually it is the heat energy required to raise temperature by 1 degree centigrade of 1 gram of water from 13.5 to 14.5 degree centigrade. So the specific heat of water is 1, as compared to it, a specific heat of alcohol is 0.8. So what will happen? There is a pond of water and there is a pond of alcohol. Both are carrying equal amount of liquid. If we give 80 calories of heat to both vessels or pond, what will happen? By the same given amount of heat, the pond water temperature will rise up to 80 degrees centigrade, as compared to that the temperature of pond of alcohol will rise up to 100 degrees centigrade. So with any increase or decrease in temperature of surrounding, the temperature of water fluctuates less as compared to all other liquids. That is why it makes a very suitable molecule for life. And for this, amount of water is also regulated in the living system, both in terrestrial organisms and in aquatic organisms. Let us see about aquatic organisms. So, amount of regulating amount of water in our system is called osmoregulation. Rather, regulation of the osmotic pressure of our blood is called osmoregulation. Let us see what happens in case of a freshwater fish living in pond, lake and river. The surrounding water is containing about 0.1% salt. So concentration of water is 99.9%. The blood of a freshwater fish contains about 0.9% salt. So amount of water is about 99.1%. This value is just for comparison. So what will happen? Amount of water is much more here, less here. Much more amount of water will enter through the skin into the fish body. So the water drinking is not needed in a freshwater fish. When much more water is entering in the body through the skin, more urination will take place. Along with urine, along with water, much more salt can also be lost. So here we have salt absorbing cells which retain the salt and permit the water to go out during urine formation. In a marine fish, what happens? The situation is just reverse. In surrounding water, there is about 3.5% salt, 96.5% water. So what will happen? Every time there will be loss of water through the skin from the body of a fish to the surrounding. And to compensate it, much more water drinking will take place in a marine fish. When much more water drinking is there and there is water loss from the skin itself, so less urination is there. And through this and water drinking, much more salt is coming inside, and that much salt is not required by the body. So what will happen? It will have some salt secreting cells which remove the extra salt at the time of urination. In our terrestrial condition also, there are a lot of activities. We take water with a drinking water. Along with our taken food, also some water comes in. And from that food, during oxidation in the mitochondria, again some metabolic water is formed. Every time during perspiration, some water is being lost from our body surface. Every time during respiration, some water is going out through the expired air. Some water is going out along with urine. Some water is going out along with feces. So many water cycles are there, and this way water is the miraculous liquid most suitable for life. Thank you very much.